The sun had only just begun to rise over the lush slopes of Oahu, painting the sky in pale pinks and warm golds. On the soft sands of Lanikai Beach, a young woman named Kaulana stumbled upon an unusual object half buried in the surf. It glinted like a hidden gem. She knelt and scooped it up. It was a small carved tiki, its eyes deep and knowing. Kaulana's heart raced. She ran to her best friend, Noelani, who was collecting shells nearby. "Look at this," she whispered, breathless. Noelani examined the tiki with gentle fingers. "This symbol," Noelani said slowly. "It belongs to the ancient kahuna of Molokai. Legends say it can guide the bearer to something greater." Their excitement was cut short when the sea mist thickened and a distant chant echoed across the water. Kaulana and Noelani froze. The echo grew louder, and footprints appeared in the wet sand, leading inland, fading into the thick palms of the jungle. Kaulana gripped the tiki. "Someone or something is coming." Noelani nodded, pale but resolute. "We must follow." They rose and set off, hearts pounding, toward the jungle. The mist curled around them like ghostly arms. The beach, so warm moments before, now felt cold and full of secrets. And so, Kaulana and Noelani embarked on a journey that would change everything. The jungle was thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming orchids. Vines dangled from towering trees like curtains, and birds chattered in languages older than memory. Kaulana and Noelani moved carefully, following the fading footprints, which grew lighter with every step. The deeper they walked, the stranger the forest became. Trees bent slightly, as if listening. Leaves trembled though no wind stirred. Above them, a canopy of green blocked out the rising sun, casting dappled shadows across their path. Noelani stopped suddenly. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. Kaulana paused. A soft murmur floated through the trees, almost like a voice. Not one voice, but many. Not loud, but clear. Whispers in Hawaiian, spoken too quickly to understand. "It's the forest," Kaulana said. "It's alive." A sudden gust of warm wind swept through, and the tiki in Kaulana's hand glowed faintly. Light pulsed from its carved eyes, pointing to the left, toward a narrow trail hidden behind ferns. Noelani narrowed her eyes. "It's guiding us." The two stepped carefully onto the hidden path. The air felt different here, denser, older. As they pressed on, they came upon an ancient stone wall, covered in moss and carved with unfamiliar symbols. In the center stood a figure, an old man in a faded blue sarong, his skin dark and weathered like the bark of koa trees, turned to face them. His eyes, though aged, were sharp with knowledge. "I have waited a long time," he said. His voice was calm, steady, like the ocean on a windless day. Kaulana's breath caught. "Who are you?" The man stepped closer. "I am Keahi, guardian of the path. You have found the tiki. That means the island has chosen you." Noelani glanced at Kaulana, confused. "Chosen us for what?" Keahi looked at the glowing tiki and smiled faintly. "To awaken what has long been forgotten." Before they could respond, a rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. Birds flew upward in alarm. From deep within the forest came the sound of something moving, large, deliberate, and not alone. Keahi's expression grew grave. "We must go. Now. There isn't much time." Kaulana and Noelani exchanged a look, then followed him without question, deeper into the heart of the island. The jungle whispered louder. They moved swiftly through the thickening jungle, Keahi leading the way with the ease of someone who knew every stone and root beneath his feet. Kaulana clutched the tiki close to her chest, its soft light pulsing in rhythm with her racing heart. After what felt like hours, the trees thinned, revealing a dark ridge of black rock. In the distance rose the towering peak of Mauna Kapu, the island's sacred volcano. Smoke drifted from its summit, curling into the sky like a warning. Keahi stopped at the mouth of a cave carved into the volcanic stone. "This is the gateway. Few enter, fewer return." The entrance was narrow and silent, but warm air flowed from within, as if the mountain itself was breathing. Kaulana hesitated only a moment before stepping inside, Noelani close behind her. The stone walls were smooth and etched with spirals and lines that shimmered faintly in the tiki's light. They descended into the earth. With every step, the air grew warmer, thicker, heavy with the scent of sulfur and something ancient. The tiki's glow intensified. Long ago, Keahi began, his voice echoing off the stone. This island was guarded by the spirit of fire, Pele's chosen flame. But her resting place was disturbed. Her light was hidden. The balance shifted. Kaulana listened carefully. What does that have to do with us? You carry the last guide, he replied. The tiki. It awakens only when the island is in danger and when the chosen ones are ready. As they reached the bottom of the passage, the cave widened into a chamber lit with flickering red crystals. In the center stood a stone altar, and above it, suspended in the air, a ring of fire slowly turning like a wheel. Noelani gasped. Is that it? Pele's flame? Keahi nodded solemnly. It is a fragment, but it is fading. If it dies, so does the island's spirit. Before they could approach it, a loud crack echoed behind them. The ground split. Out of the shadows crawled creatures of stone and ash, small at first, then larger, their eyes glowing with a cruel light. Kaulana stepped forward. What are they? Guardians turned to rage, Keahi said grimly. Corrupted by the loss of light. You must get to the altar. Place the tiki. The creatures hissed and began to close in. Kaulana's hands trembled as she held up the tiki. It flared, casting a golden light that repelled the nearest of them. She looked to Noelani.
Now, she said.
We run. Together, they dashed forward as the walls of the cave groaned, and the first of the stone creatures gave chase. The fire above the altar flickered. Kaulana and Noelani sprinted across the trembling cavern floor, the tiki clutched tightly in Kaulana's hand. Behind them, the creatures snarled and skittered, their sharp limbs cracking against the volcanic stone. The suspended ring of fire pulsed with unstable light, spinning more slowly now, its heat less intense. Keahi stood at the edge of the chamber, chanting in a low voice, his hands raised in prayer. The symbols on the walls shimmered in time with his words. Kaulana reached the altar first. The moment she placed the tiki on the cold stone, a rush of wind circled the room. The golden carving locked into place, as if it had been made for that exact spot. The fire above them shuddered. Then it flared. The chamber lit up as the flame expanded, a burst of energy washing over the cave. The first wave struck the nearest stone creature, shattering it into dust. Others shrieked and recoiled, shielding their glowing eyes from the light. Noelani shielded her face, stunned. It's working. Keahi's chant grew louder, stronger. The flame recognizes you. Suddenly, the ground beneath Kaulana cracked. A surge of light burst from the altar and struck her in the chest. She was thrown backward, but did not fall. Instead, she hovered, suspended in the air, her eyes wide with golden fire reflected in them. Noelani cried out, reaching for her. Kaulana. But Kaulana was still, her body surrounded by symbols, spiraling in circles of fire and water, sky and stone. A voice filled the chamber. It was not human. It was the island. You have awakened the guardian. Restore the balance. Protect the flame. Kaulana lowered gently to the ground, the tiki still glowing beneath her hand. She blinked, as if waking from a dream. I saw it, she whispered. All of it.
The past.
The island. Pele. She's not angry. She's afraid. Keahi looked grave. Then the danger is worse than I feared. From the darkness beyond the chamber, a second tremor rose. This one deeper, longer, and colder. A new sound followed it, metallic and unnatural. Noelani stepped back. That wasn't the creatures. That sounded like machines. Keahi nodded slowly. Then they've come. The ones who dig beneath what must remain untouched. Kaulana stood tall, light still burning behind her eyes. Then we go to them. The flames spun faster now, strengthened but unstable. The tiki pulsed, and the island whispered once more. The sky above Mauna Kapu was dark by the time Kalana, Noelani, and Keahi emerged from the cavern. Clouds rolled overhead, thick and heavy, as if the island itself was holding its breath. Down in the valley below, lights flickered where they should not be. Strange lights. Cold. Artificial. Kalana narrowed her eyes. That wasn't here yesterday. It wasn't here this morning, Keahi replied grimly. They work quickly. The trio descended through the jungle, avoiding open paths. Birds were silent. Even the wind had stilled. As they neared the source of a light, the trees thinned, revealing a clearing stripped bare of life. The earth had been torn open, blackened by machines with iron jaws. Massive drills, taller than palm trees, chewed into the mountain's roots. Trucks moved like beetles over the land. And in the center, protected by armed guards and steel fences, was a structure humming with energy. It pulsed with a rhythm not unlike the tiki's glow, but colder, mechanical. Noelani whispered, "They're stealing the energy of the island." Kalana clenched her fists. "They're trying to replace the flame." Keahi nodded. "A false heart, built to drain the old and control what cannot be controlled." From behind them, a branch snapped. Kalana spun. A woman in a sleek silver suit emerged from the shadows, flanked by two others in similar gear. Her hair was tied back, and her eyes were sharp as blades. "You should not be here," she said calmly. Noelani stepped forward. "You're the ones digging into the volcano. You're hurting the island." The woman raised an eyebrow. "The island is a resource. You're clinging to myth. We're building the future." Kalana held the tiki high. It began to glow. The woman's eyes narrowed.
"Ah,
"So you're the reason it woke up." She signaled to her guards. "Take it." The air shifted. Before the guards could move, the ground beneath them buckled. Vines shot from the earth, wrapping around their legs. The trees groaned. The jungle had come alive. Keahi smiled faintly. "The island chooses its defenders." Chaos erupted. Guards shouted. Lights failed. The machines shuddered as the earth trembled beneath them. Kalana grabbed Noelani's hand, and together they ran back into the trees, the tiki's light guiding the way. Behind them, the woman's voice echoed through the chaos. "You can't stop progress." But the forest answered with a roar. Night had fully embraced the jungle. Kalana and Noelani, guided by the glowing tiki, slipped between towering ferns and braided vines. The distant rumble of machinery reminded them of the looming threat. Keahi led the way. "There is a hidden valley beyond this ridge. Spirits dwell there. They may aid us." A distant light flickered ahead, soft, like lanterns. As they crested a hill, they found a small village built of driftwood and stone. Figures in tattooed cloaks gathered around a fire, their faces serious yet welcoming. An elder stepped forward, Pua, the keeper of voices. Her gray eyes shone like moonlight. "You carry the spark," she said quietly. "The island speaks and we listen." Kalana nodded. "We must undo what they've begun. The drills beneath Mauna Kapu are tearing the heart of the world." Pua lifted a carved staff. "We can slow them, but the journey will test you. And time runs out." Noelani steadied herself. "We will do whatever it takes." A distant tremor shook the village. Pua's brow furrowed. "First, we prepare." They entered the village under a canopy of stars. Behind them, the forest pulsed with quiet power. The village grew still, waiting for what was to come. At dawn, Kalana, Noelani, Keahi, and Pua stood atop a ridge overlooking the valley. Timber barricades, traps, and hidden snares criss-crossed the greenery. The villagers moved with purpose, gathering herbs, forging stone tools, chanting. Keahi spoke softly. "We prepare to confront their machines. But you too must also confront what is in your hearts." Kalana touched the tiki. "I feel the flame within me. It's more than power. It is responsibility." Noelani nodded. "And fear. What if I fail?" Pua placed a hand on Noelani's shoulder. "Fear is natural. Courage is acting despite fear." Below, The roar of engines began. The machines advanced, lights cutting through the early mist. Guards patrolled ahead, scanning the jungle. Kalana took a deep breath. We strike at first light. As the sun's rays emerged, the tiki's glow brightened. One by one, the villagers raised their weapons, long wooden spears tipped with obsidian, slings, traps triggered by concealed vines. The ground trembled under the heavy tread of machines. The plants around the clearing stiffened, as if the island itself braced for a fight. Kalana swore, "We won't let them destroy our home." Noelani gripped her spear. "Then let's show them what the island can do." And so, the defenders took their places, hearts bound by purpose. Even as the machines drew closer, chaos erupted at the valley floor. The iron beasts advanced, but they were met with unexpected resistance. Vines snaked from the earth, tangling in treads. Spears struck at guards, slings sent stones crashing into metal. Kalana and Noelani led the charge. Kalana held the tiki aloft. Its golden light flared, igniting the undergrowth. Flames flickered, but instead of burning, the fire revitalized the plants, empowering the defenders. Machines buckled. Guards stumbled. The woman in the silver suit emerged again, yelling commands. "Hold the line." She advanced, stepping over broken vines. Kalana blocked her path. The woman glanced at the tiki. "You think myth will stop technology?" Kalana smiled, fearless. "It's not myth. It's our life." They circled each other. The woman lunged. Kalana dodged, the tiki's light blocking the attack. Noelani joined in, her spear thrusting, forcing the woman to retreat. Above them, Keahi and Pua coordinated the villagers, pressing the advantage, pushing machines back. Sparks flew when obsidian met steel. The forest groaned with exertion. Suddenly, a blast echoed. A grenade-like device hit an ancient tree, cracking its trunk. The forest trembled. Cries rose. The battle hung in the balance. Kalana shouted, "Protect the tiki." Noelani covered her back. "We will." Amid the uproar, the glowing tiki pulsed strong, summoning every spirit in the forest. The battle raged at the foot of Mauna Kapu. The machines broke one after another, but so did the village defenses. The woman in silver, furious, activated a central console in the structure. A deafening hum rose as a cold white light began to drain from a mechanical core. Kalana realized with horror. They're replacing the flame. From above, Keahi bellowed. "Kalana Noelani now." The two sprinted toward the structure. Guards tried to stop them. Noelani faltered, nearly restrained, but Kalana shoved her forward. "Go!" Noelani raced on, climbing over broken fences. Kalana followed, tiki lighting her path even as machines struck at her. The woman in silver faced them at the console. "You cannot stop this," she sneered, hands on the machine. Kalana stepped forward. "The island will undo your work." Noelani reached the console and smashed it with her spear. Sparks flew. The drinking of flame halted, but the device overheated. It began to explode. Kalana grabbed the tiki and hurled it at the core. Time slowed. The tiki landed squarely, embedding itself. There was a blinding flash of golden and crimson light. The machine shuddered, and then tore itself apart. A shockwave blew through the valley. Trees bowed. Rocks tumbled. The flame in the volcano's peak flared brightly, visible even at night. Silence fell. The machines lay in ruins. Slowly, fireflies rose from the undergrowth. Kalana fell to her knees, gasping. Noelani helped her up. They looked at the volcano. Its glow was warm, alive. Dawn broke over Mauna Kapu. The sky was clear. The volcano's plume rose steady, like a proud guardian. The jungle had healed. New shoots peeked through the scorched earth. The village gathered at the crater's rim. Kalana stood at the center, tiki in hand. The villagers watched, awed. Pua stepped forward. "You have restored what was lost." Keahi laid a hand on Kalana's shoulder. "You carried the island within you." Noelani smiled, exhausted but serene. "We kept our promise." A warm wind fluttered through the crowd. The island whispered softly, no longer alarmed, but grateful. The woman in silver approached, stripped of her suit, humbled. She bowed her head. I was wrong. Kalana offered her the tiki's glow. Learn from what happened. Let the island live. The woman nodded, tears in her eyes. I will. Together, they watched the sun rise over the volcanic peak. The jungle sang with renewed life. The flame above them pulsed steadily, no longer wild, but balanced. The island was safe, its heart reborn.